Weekly summary from the Presidency of the Libyan government. Libyan Prime Minister Dr. Osama Hamad praised the level of security achieved in the country, attributing it to the leadership of General Command of the Armed Forces, especially after Libya was removed from the list of the countries affected by terrorism. The Prime Minister also appreciated the role of the General Command of the Armed Forces, led by Field Marshal Khalifa Belqasem Haftar, and the sacrifices of the military personnel in all liberation battles in all cities and regions in the east, west, and south of the country. He affirmed that the situation has become different in all cities, where cities in the east, south, and west of the country have become a distinguished model in restoring security and reducing crime rates. The Minister of Interior in the Libyan government, Major General Isam Bouzeriba, directed a letter to the heads of the security agency and directors of General and Security Administration in the regions regarding lifting the ban previously imposed to the spread of lumpy skin disease among livestock, on the condition that the transported animals, accompanied by a veterinary health certificate issued by the Animal Health Office in the municipality from which the livestock are transported. This came based on reference in a letter from the head of the Animal Health Center Management Committee, Dr. Muhammad Liqab, regarding the stabilization of the epidemiological situation of lumpy skin disease in the south and east of the country, and the removal of the restrictions imposed on the transportation of the cattle, sheep, and goats between the municipalities and cities in those areas. Under the supervision of General Authority for Endowments and Islamic Affairs, the Adult Vaccination Center at the Benghazi Health Service Administration, in coordination with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Office of Primary Health Care, has commenced providing necessary vaccination for imams and preachers selected to travel to some African countries to perform Taraweeh prayers and deliver religious lessons during the blessed month of Ramadan. This initiative is in accordance with the instruction of the Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, following his meeting with the President of the General Authority for Endowments and Islamic Affairs, Mr. Atif Al-Abidi, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Abdel Hadi Lahouij, where coordination was made to send 30 professional imams for leading Taraweeh prayers and distinguished preachers to deliver religious lessons, ceremonies, and educational teachings in worship and creed in some African countries. The Ministry of Civil Service held a scientific seminar entitled Civil Service and its Role Achieving Quality Public Employment, in the presence of several members of the House of Representatives and a group of officials from the service and health sectors. It's worth noting that the scientific seminar aims to introduce the concept of civil service, its importance, and understanding its structure and performance obstacles. Additionally, it aims to familiarize participants with the law of employment relations, the most important political obstacles, and quality requirements. The Ministry of Electricity and Renewable Energies has commenced the operation of Unit 3 at the Dobrek Power Station, following the issuance of directives of Prime Minister Dr. Osama Hamad to the Minister of Electricity and Renewable Energies to provide 2 million liters of light fuel through the Arabian Gulf Company. This step aims to alleviate the burden of load shedding in the Green Mountain areas. The internal security apparatus has begun extensive security deployment with the city of Benghazi, equipped with the technical vehicles for detecting weapons and explosives. They are stationed in the streets, conducting inspection campaigns to reinforce security within the city, based on directives of the Prime Minister Dr. Osama Hamad to the head of the internal security apparatus, General Osama Al-Idrisi. These directives are part of the security plan prepared by the head of the apparatus, following the support of the departments with the new motor vehicles, aiming to activate the role of the apparatus within its jurisdiction, enforce the law, and apprehend violators. The Libyan government, under the leadership of Dr. Osama Hamad, has commenced in coordination with the General Command of the Armed Forces and the Development and Reconstruction Fund the provision of cooking gas cylinders and fuel cylinders, including gasoline and diesel, to the cities of Al-Bayda and Shahat. Furthermore, the Minister of Electricity and Renewable Energies in the Libyan government, Dr. Awad al-Badri, has been instructed to monitor and address the issues of power outages in the city of Al-Bayda. Indeed, the Ministry of Electricity and Renewable Energies has initiated the operation of Unit 3 at the Dobrek Power Station, and 2 million liters of light fuel have been provided through the Arabian Gulf Company. The Ministry of Labor and Rehabilitation continues its training course for the 4th batch of job seekers of both gender dispatched by the Libyan government to the Arab Republic of Egypt in the field of cybersecurity. This initiative is part of the Libyan Workforce Development Program. It's worth mentioning that the Libyan government has dispatched 3 batches to the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan to receive training courses in the information technology, certified network professional, and advanced welding techniques. The ship to leave arrived in the city of Benghazi from the port of Cartagena in the Kingdom of Spain, carrying 1,000 of sheep and cattle. Immediately, a veterinary team affiliated with the National Center for Animal Health of the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Wealth of the Libyan government began conducting a veterinary examination to ensure that the health certificate accompanying the shipment matches the health condition of the sheep and cattle. Dr. Sama Hamad, the Prime Minister of the Libyan government, reviewed the work progress of veterinary teams affiliated with the National Center for Animal Health of the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Wealth of the Libyan government. They conducted veterinary examination to ensure the health certificate accompanying the first batch of the shipment coming from the port of Cartagena in the Kingdom of Spain, carrying shipment of sheep and cattle. This shipment is one of several shipments supported by the Libyan government to stabilize meat prices, fulfilling the commitments of the Prime Minister to stabilize price of red and white meat products, and essentially products for every Libyan family. Dr. Sama Hamad, the Prime Minister of the Libyan government, accompanied by the Minister of Local Governors, Mr. Sami Al-Dawi, and the Commissioner for African Affairs, Mr. Isa Abdel Majid, visited the headquarters of the General Administration of the Libyan News Agency in Benghazi. They were received by the Deputy Chairman of Board, Mr. Ibrahim Hadiya. The Prime Minister and the accompanying ministers toured the Libyan News Agency and were briefed on the work progress in the central newsroom, the newspaper, the radio station wall. The Prime Minister commended the level of technical equipment and journalistic staff in the agency's department, affiliated with the House of Representatives, reaffirming his support for them to carry out their assigned task and providing reliable professional news about local affairs, Arab, African, and international arenas. Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, met with the Minister of Local Governors, Mr. Sami Al-Dawi, and the Ministry Under Secretary, Mr. Abu Bakr al-Zawi, at his office in the Cabinet Presidency in Benghazi. During the meeting, they discussed the Ministry's work progress allocating financial resources to support the municipal guards groups, dispersing financial resources, and supporting the second chapter to facilitate the operation of municipalities across the country, including the eastern, western, and southern regions, in a manner that serve the interests of citizens. The Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, met with the Minister of Interior, Major General Issam Bouzariba, and the Under Secretary of Ministry, Colonel Faraj Gaim, at his office in the Cabinet Presidency of Benghazi. During the meeting, they discussed the security work progress in various details within the areas under the control of the Libyan government, and they called for the continuation of ongoing efforts that have positively impacted the public sector in the region. Additionally, they discussed addressing the resolving as many problems and obstacles as possible. The Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, met with the Minister of Education, Dr. Jamal Jadid, at his office in the Cabinet Presidency of Benghazi. During the meeting, they discussed allocating financial amount of educational activities to organize several educational competitions. They also discussed allocating funds for the first quarter of educational inspection and establishing teacher training institute in Benghazi, Tripoli, and Sabha. Additionally, they approved the relocating of the Training and Development Center to Benghazi and discussed the general conditions of teachers. The Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, met with the Minister of Communications and Informatics, Mr. Salam Idrissi, at his office in the Cabinet Presidency in Benghazi. During the meeting, they discussed the ministry's work progress and ongoing projects, as well as addressing the obstacles facing the ministries in carrying out its task and developing the infrastructure of communications sector. The Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, met with the Minister of Health, Dr. Athman Abdel Jalil, at his office in the Cabinet Presidency in Benghazi. During the meeting, they discussed dispersing financial support for cancer patients, as well as discussing the situation of the Health Institution Support Center and several important files. The Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, met with the Minister of Water Resources, Mr. Muhammad Doma, at his office in the Cabinet Presidency in Benghazi. During the meeting, they discussed the efforts and the work carried out by the ministries to provide water to citizens in all cities and regions. They also discussed the necessary maintenance work for water desalination plants in the cities of Darna, Susa, Tobruk, Butraba, and Budabasiya. Additionally, they addressed the completing the remaining stage of the Great Man-Made River project and during groundwater wells projects to provide water to citizens in several cities and regions. The Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, met with the Minister of Transportation, Mr. Abdel Hakim Al-Ghazali, at his office in the Cabinet Presidency in Benghazi. During the meeting, they discussed the efforts, work, and projects undertaken by the ministry, as well as the issues and obstacles in order to resolve them as quickly as possible. The Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, was briefed on the preparations of the State Ministry for Immigration's Affairs for the upcoming Africa-Europe Summit on migration scheduled to be held in May. During his meeting with the State Minister for Illegal Immigration and Affairs, Mr. Fathi Tabawi, The Prime Minister was updated on the Ministry's overall work progress and the steps taken to regulate the work of the international and foreign organizations in the country. The Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, was briefed on the work progress of the Ministry of Higher Education and Youth during his meeting with the Ministry of Youth and the Acting Minister for Higher Education, Mr. Mahdi Saidi. The Prime Minister affirmed the government's support for the colleges and universities, allocating financial resources for university faculty members. Additionally, a financial allocating was approved for the Ministry's office to ensure the smooth functioning of its tasks. The Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, was briefed on the work progress of the Ministry of Civil Service during his meeting with the Minister of Civil Service, Mr. Muhammad Bun'ama. The Prime Minister affirmed that all problems and obstacles facing the ministry work will be addressed. Additionally, various administrative procedures for the ministries were discussed. The Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, met with the second Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Misbah Douma, in the presence of Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Salam al-Zadma. During his meeting held at his office in the Council of Ministers headquarters in Benghazi, the Prime Minister was briefed on the progress of ongoing projects in the southern region. He reiterated the Libyan government's commitment to prioritize all regions and cities of Libya. He emphasized that the security stability witnessed in the cities under the control of the Libyan government as a result of the sacrifice made by the Libyan Arab Armed Forces. This stability led to the reconstruction and development witnessed in all cities across the eastern, western, and southern regions. Prime Minister commended the efforts of the General Command of the Armed Forces led by Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces Field Marshal Khalifa Haftar in securing the country from imminent dangers and combating terrorism on behalf of the world. The Prime Minister of the Libyan government, Dr. Osama Hamad, received at the Prime Minister's headquarters in Benghazi, along with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Abdelhadi Lahouij, the UN envoy to Libya, Mr. Abdullah Bitali, and the accompanying UN delegation. The two sides discussed the latest developments in the country's political situation and ways to move forward towards elections. The Prime Minister emphasized that the priorities of the Libyan government are to provide essential service to citizens and to contribute the reconstruction efforts, as evidenced by the ongoing reconstruction and recivilization in Darna, thanks to the Darna Reconstruction Fund, amidst the security and stability in the eastern and southern region of the country due to the role of the General Command of the Libyan Armed Forces. He also highlighted some of the Libyan government's actions during the recent period, including dealing with crises and natural disasters such as Hurricane Daniel, which struck cities and areas in Green Mountain and Darna, as well as sending a delegation of experts to address the groundwater crisis in Zliten, west of the country. The Prime Minister informed the UN envoy that the lack of recognition from the international community for the legitimate government compelled the government to take initiative and work diligently to provide stability, service, and resolve obstacles facing municipalities and regions in the eastern and southern parts of the country, as well as some areas in western Libya. The UN envoy, Mr. Abdullah Bitali, praised the role of the Libyan government under the leadership of Dr. Osama Hamad in managing the flood crisis that hit the eastern region, especially in the city of Darna, and the groundwater crisis in Zliten. He emphasized the mission's role providing support and assistance, noting that it does not support any party involved in the current crisis. This came during a meeting between the UN envoy and the Prime Minister Dr. Osama Hamad in Benghazi. The Ministry of Labor and Rehabilitation of the Libyan government celebrated the graduation of a group of job seekers dispatched to the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan to receive advanced training in modern techniques for welding pressure vessels, as part of Prime Minister Dr. Osama Hamad initiative to train 25,000 job seekers to create qualified Libyan workforce for the job market. Engineer Abdullah Sharif Al-Houma, the Minister of Labor and Rehabilitation of the Libyan government, delivered the speech during the ceremony reaffirming the ministry's commitment to continue training human resources and job seekers in the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan and the Arab Republic of Egypt, particularly regarding external training in various professions and specialization aimed to creating a real job opportunities for them. They also presented graduation certificates to the trainees and honored the top 3 among them.